And so it's important for us to know how to detach. Because sometimes what's holding us back in life is the expectations that we have and stuff. And this is not me saying the moment you let go or the moment you let go of your expectations, that life will start bringing things your way or things will start going the way that you want them to go. In a way, what I'm saying is, if you can detach yourself from your desire or your expectation to gain something every time that you do something, then everything that you get in life becomes a gift. Hey YouTube family, I am Robbie, and I really appreciate you all for real, so I'm not even going to waste your time. In a way, I think expectation is a subtle form of attachment. And the reason I say this is because, in a way, it can bind your action to outcome, your peace to results, and even your worth to recognition. And one thing I enjoy is spending time with myself. One thing I enjoy is being on the journey to better your life, or at least better my life. And as I'm working towards that and working towards getting to know myself better, this is something that I'm beginning to realize about myself. And I find myself doing things only if there is something at the end of that action. And it made me realize that I no longer do things just for the joy of those things, in a way. I no longer do, take action for the sake of the action itself. And I think this is one of the reasons why I really enjoy this journey and getting to know yourself, just because of how much things that you begin to pick up about yourself. And this is why it's very important to slow down. And also, not ever think that you get to a place where you know it all and you learn it all. I think in life, it's important for you to be able to, you learn this and you learn that. Learn this and unlearn that. Learn this and unlearn that. Learn this and unlearn that. But this made me realize that, being so outcome-oriented can really make you miss the beauty in life. Like taking a walk with a friend just for taking a walk's sake. And so you feel like whenever you're not doing anything that would be productive in a way or that will add to you in a way, you think those times are wasted times. But when did we start making everything to be about the outcome? And when did we start doing things just so we could get things back in return? And I think it's important that we don't always let expectation to govern us. And I think most of our expectations and desires, it's not ours, right? It's given to us by the society that we choose to live in. We didn't come up with these expectations ourselves. And in a way, I think this is the kind of expectation that make most of us stress. And this is why you can be in your 20s and feel like a failure. You feel like your life sucks. And it's like, yes, your life's supposed to suck because you're in your 20s. But I think sometimes we don't realize that, you see, when you're in your 20s, that's your transition period. And I know the world want to tell you, oh, you're in your 20s. Do you not have this? Do you not have that? Do you not have plans for for when you get old? Oh, you don't have this and you don't. It's like, no, you're in your 20s. And this is not me saying you don't plan about this thing, but the truth is your life is supposed to suck at 20s. But that doesn't mean you're a failure. That doesn't mean you also have to compare yourself with somebody else who is in their 20s and it feels like they are doing way better than you. It's like, this is your first life. You've never done this before. It's okay. It's supposed to be rocky. It's supposed to be confusing. And this is why I always say, be patient becoming the person you've never been before. Some people spend the most part of their 20s recovering from their childhood. Everybody's life is different and everybody's experience is different. You cannot judge two people based on the same standard. So no, you're not behind in life. Let go of those expectations. Detach yourself from the outcomes of life. Detach yourself from that, well, your life is supposed to go here. It's after this, then this, after this, then that. No. And you're doing this for the first time. See, nobody should be able to tell you or set expectations for you if they haven't walked your path. And not saying you can't take advice from people, but personally, I choose to take advice from somebody who have walked down the same road, who has walked on the same path that I'm walking. Look for someone who has gone through the exact same thing. Not necessarily to listen to them, although they can be, there are times for that. But so you can see somebody who did it in spite of. They are showing you that in spite of this, they made it. Or even if they didn't make it, at least you see that in spite of, they are still here. And it doesn't matter whether they succeeded or whether they failed, because we can learn a lot from people's failure just as much as we can learn from their success. And sometimes some people would even argue that we can learn more from the failure than we can from the success. Happy or sad, light is only a reference to dark, because life is in getting what you want and not getting what you want, in winning some and losing some. And to desire one above the other is to try and control something that was never meant to be controlled. And I'm not saying that you stop caring about growth or change. But what I'm saying is that you let go of the expectations that's holding you like a chain. Yes, you have to be growing. Yes, you have to be changing, because change is the only constant thing in life. And you don't want to wake up 5 years from now and find yourself in the same spot with no change. But what I'm saying is for you to be intentional and continue growing on your own pace. As long as you're growing, as long as you're putting in effort and working on yourself with the knowledge that you're in no competition or race with anyone, and you're not taking on the expectations that the world has placed on you or the expectations you placed on yourself. And this is why it's important to let go. And I think it's important for us to let go of these expectations that keep us attached to things. And in a way, I think the more that you let go, the more that life will give to you. And I'm not saying that you don't care about anything. Throw your hands up in the air and wave them like you don't just care. What I'm saying is don't expect. I think we have to stop approaching life with the heart or with a mindset that everything that we do has to have an outcome. And so it's important for us to know how to detach. Because sometimes what's holding us back in life is the expectations that we have and stuff. And this is not me saying the moment you let go or the moment you let go of your expectations, that life will start bringing things your way or things will start going the way that you want them to go. In a way, what I'm saying is, if you can detach yourself from your desire or your expectation to gain something every time that you do something, then everything that you get in life becomes a gift. Now everything that we receive becomes a blessing. The more that we allow ourselves to not expect, to not be so outcome driven. And I think the more we can allow ourselves to not expect, to not be so outcome oriented, I think this is the moment we can start appreciating things like for real in a different way, to a different degree as well. And this is because we stop doing things for the outcome. And I think this also can allow us to also enjoy the things in life that we might be overlooking. And also find purpose in the things that we might take for granted because we don't necessarily see immediate outcome in those things. And this is like spending time with family, right? Even spending time with your own self and doing for yourself and also for the people that you love, the people that you care about. And I'll speak for myself here. Because there are times when I've been with family, I've been with people that I love. Sometimes they just want to kick it with you. You can get to a place in your mind where you're just focused on what it is that you're working on. You're just so goal-oriented in a way that you actually start missing out on life in a way. But the moment that you stop doing things for the outcome or for what that thing can provide you, see, I think that's the moment you let things to be as they are. And when you allow things to just be as they are, in some way, it allows us as well to just be as we are. The moment we start doing things not for the reward or for the outcomes, see, I think that's the moment that we start doing those things for the presence. And that is to say, the action stop being for the external praise or gain, but for the inherent value of the act itself. You see? And this is where we can begin to focus and being fully engaged or connected in the moment. So when an action is not done for the external praises or gains, but for the sake of the act itself, it really does connect you to the moment. It connects you to the presence of what you're doing. And I think in a way, it actually makes the action itself more valuable. And that's where contentment and true peace can come from. Because what it is that we seek, sometimes we think we want happiness or this, that, and the other. But we know that none of these things can truly satisfy us in a way. We know that none of these things from the world, nothing that comes from outside can truly give us contentment. Yes, it can make you feel good for a moment or even a day. But eventually the happiness will fade. Because we know that happiness, just like anger, is an emotion, right? And it's not something that can be as sustainable as being contented with life. And this is why the pursuit of happiness can actually make you miserable. It's because of the misunderstanding of happiness and some people thinking that the purpose of life is to be happy. And this is not me saying I'm against the feeling of happiness. What I'm saying is, when you believe that happiness is something that you must chase, then every moment that isn't perfect feels like failure. But when you seek contentment, you stop running. And that's because you realize that peace doesn't come after achievement, but after acceptance. And let's just start by accepting and acknowledging reality. And I think it's important for you not to compare your life with others. And you can look at somebody and you say, oh, they have this and they have that and we're the same age. Or you can be stuck in a place where you're looking at all the things that you don't have. How you weren't born in the right country or you weren't born in the family that you would have hoped to be born in. You can focus on the things that you don't have and say, I don't have this and I don't have this, that, or the other. And while it's the truth, Why you don't have all of these things, that is reality and that is a fact. But what is it that you do have? Because that is another reality that you can also focus on or embrace. So remember, when you act without expectation, the act itself becomes a reward. When you can just take a walk just by yourself with no expectation, you see the walk in itself, which is you being in that present moment, or you walking with your child, or you walking with your loved ones. See, the act itself becomes the reward. And I think one thing that we'll begin to find out as well is that meaning doesn't live in outcomes. It lives in the moment of doing. And that's what I was thinking about earlier today. For me, I think sometimes I can be in my own head hard, especially when I find an area where I feel like I need to grow, or when I become aware of certain things in my life that I might be doing, or certain things I might be lacking. And I can just get into a place in my mind where I start thinking about different alternatives. And I start thinking to myself of ways that my life can change or be affected the moment I start implementing certain things in my life. And I know I'm talking about just doing things, sometimes just for the sake of those things, and it's true. But I think that's also one area where I feel like I need growth in, because there's a saying that a man who thinks all the time has nothing to think about except thought. And I think that can be true in a way. But I think having the awareness of that truth as well set you up nicely, or at least put you in a place where you don't allow yourself to get lost in your own thought, and also allow you to create space for yourself where you can begin to act, so that all you have is not just thought itself. And I think if we can just let go of desires and act without expectation, I think we'll find out that meaning doesn't live in outcomes. I think we'll start realizing that meaning lives in the moment of doing. It's in the writing, it's in you working, the moment of doing. Meaning is found in just doing. And so I think it helps to be intentional with life, and also allow ourselves to question and just, in a way, figure out how the expectations that we have are actually, impacting our lives. In a way, I think expectation is like a quiet chain. It binds your peace to an outcome you cannot control. And I think the more you expect, the more you suffer when life doesn't work out in your favor. Or you can find yourself in a place where life just becomes all about outcome. And you lose the ability to just live life for life itself, where the reward is not tied to the outcome of the action, where the reward is in the act itself. And so let me be honest. I think I'm going to try in my life to just do things just for the sake of them and not focus so much on the outcomes. And one of those things as well can be even just going to the gym. And we know that certain things come with outcome. But I think the principle of what I'm talking about is to being able to take away your mind, take away your heart from an outcome, so that you can be in the present and enjoying the act itself. Because that's where real happiness, real contentment, see, that's where it hides. Not in what you get, but in who you become when you no longer need to get anything at all. Thank you guys so much for watching this, for real. I really appreciate you, like from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. And I really hope you guys keep working on becoming the person that you were born to be.